on being the United Bowl one champions. But guys, we're sitting here. The conferences are set. The schedule is out. Preseason is done. The regular season is finally upon us. We all play three, or psych in your case, two games in the preseason. We're ready to go. We're ready to make these games count and start making the push for the playoffs. So, how are you guys doing? You guys excited? Ready to get this baby rolling?
Absolutely, it's going to be a really good season. A lot of talent's been spread amongst different teams, so we're going to see a good bit more competitiveness during these games. Just happy to be back under the banner of the Pulse. Sitting with you guys. It's been quite some time, but I mean, I pretty much see you every night, though, Matt. Wait, that sounded bad.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one, but yeah, it is good to be. I'm gonna move right along next. Yeah, it is good to be back. We've been doing this whole practice scrim thing for a long time. Even if the games were, unofficial as far as the preseason, it was good to get back on the field and see some penalty flags flying and some blocking that mattered, some scoring that mattered, and stuff like that. So I mean, it was fun to get back on the field, and now we're doing it like for real this coming weekend. So I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly. It's been a long time coming. Like we said, the schedule is out. Everything is set in stone. We're ready to kick this baby off. So kind of the makeup of this first show, just so everyone kind of knows the rundown of what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to preview each team. We're going to talk about their preseason. We're going to talk about the record they have, kind of our outlook. We're going to also move ahead. We're going to make our predictions for week one. And this season, we're actually going to keep track of all of our predictions. So you'll be able to see our records posted, each of our individual predictions every single week as well. And then at the end, we're going to give our way too early predictions on who we think is going to be in the United Bowl, just from what we've seen in the preseason. And then we're going to talk a little bit about a sleeper team, maybe that nobody's talking about, maybe someone kind of down in the bottom in one of the divisions, who we expect to make a splash in the UFL this season. But without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. Talk a little bit about the makeup of the league, which everybody already knows. In the AFC, the Bulldogs, Huskies, Raiders, the King Cobras, Titans, and the Mustangs. And then in the NFC, we have the Cowboys, the Seahawks, Broncos, the Patriots, the Warriors, and the Buccaneers. So, one thing that Tom said just a moment ago, even through the preseason, we've seen the talent, except for maybe a few teams. A lot of teams kind of busted up a little bit. A lot of the talent got spread across the league, and I believe that that's going to lead to a very balanced and a very competitive season for the most part. There are still going to be blowouts, we know. We've seen those in the preseason, but the vast majority of the games that we've sat down and watched so far have been decided by one or two possessions. So, guys, just kind of your overall thoughts about the league, about the talent, and about what you expect to see from the UFL as a whole this season.
Go ahead, Psych. I've already kind of touched on mine. I'll complete my thought after you're done.
I gotcha. Yeah, I think that there are several teams that have elevated their game. I think because of some of the results that you saw in the preseason, those with the opinion that was a big two. I think that you have to consider a big three now with the Titans notching a win that I don't think a lot of people saw coming outside of Titan Nation. So maybe not quite everybody thinking it's a two-team league now. Maybe it takes three to tango. And other than that, you're right. We saw a lot of games where everything was close and neatly tucked. And then there were some others, like our second one, that not so much. But, things like that, they do happen, and that's part of the process that teams are going to have to go through and grow and figure out as they navigate through the season. But overall, I mean, there were some really entertaining games, like this last one that we watched a couple nights ago. I think it was the Bulldogs and the Broncos. I mean, that thing came down to the fourth quarter, and with some really exciting football, watching those two go at it. Yeah, the quarter.
The
So
quarter.
that's right.
Jeez. You going Cajun on us?
I tried. So no, look. I'm gearing up for the Alabama LSU game in a few weeks. So I gotta speak their language. But yeah, I mean, overall,
Good luck with Leonard Fournette, by the way. That's all I'm gonna say.
we got that, dude.
This will be the only game that I cheer
Anyways,
for
back
Alabama.
to the UFL. Since
No,
we talked about college.
That's right.
That'll be a conversation Me and Psych, we could have our own show.
Well,
Just
I will
talking
say
college
this,
football.
and normally I'll keep quiet, but I've got a standing bet with Rayon, who's a big LSU fan, and the loser of the Alabama LSU game has to wear a hat in SL for the other team for a little while. So I'll throw that out there just as a heads up. If you see me wearing, for any circumstance, a LSU hat, you'll know what happened. If you see
I
him
think you
wearing
should have to
a
wear
Bama hat.
gloves or a towel for the remainder of the UFL season.
Yeah, I'm not going that far. Look,
I think that would be the thing. So, Rayon, if you're listening, get on that.
right.
All right, so UFL.
Right.
Like, I don't know this. Let's go.
Yeah, they don't
The
do
only thing
much
I
of
know
it.
is just whatever team is playing against LSU, I'm going for them. So
I hear you. So, but yeah,
Hello,
no,
money.
back to the UFL. Yeah, things are looking pretty good across the league. I'm really excited for several teams, and I think that it's going to be interesting watching everybody navigate the season.
Tom, you wanted to finish your thought?
yeah, sorry, I was taking a drink of water.
I thought
It's
you
going
just
to be
forgot to activate your mic like all of last season.
no, I'm actually good
Okay.
on that. I'm actually
Okay.
good on that. Thanks, Mercy. So, it's gonna be a really, really good season. As I said before, at the intro, kind of the intro of the show, is that we have seen a division of players. People have gone to some of the teams that had some struggles in the in season one. We've seen some good talent go to those teams, and those teams have actually really stepped it up lately. We've seen it in preseason. We've seen it in scrimmages. So what I'm really looking forward to and looking forward to seeing is more competitive games. No blowouts. They're gonna happen. It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. But what I'm really I'm really excited to watch are these games like the Broncos versus the Bulldogs. When it comes down to that last like score, that last point, or that last, whatever the team does to get those extra points on the board. Really greatly looking forward to watching a bunch more of those. We had a few of those last season. We had a couple, but I believe and I feel like this season we're going to see a lot more of that throughout the entire season. We're going to have some good contenders for the top positions as well. So.
I think you can get a sense of that just through the scrims that all of us have taken part in. Sometimes you go in and it doesn't quite go your way, or it really goes your way. But for the majority, and I know in our case, the majority of the scrims that we're playing in, are nip and tuck, all the way through. So definitely going to make for an exciting season. But speaking of the Bulldogs, that's the first team that we're going to sit here and talk about. The Bulldogs faced the Patriots, the Warriors, and the Broncos in the preseason. Came away with a 1-2 record. Their win coming against the Broncos. Now, the Patriots game was another really, really close one, though. A 28-24 win for the Patriots. So another game that comes down to that last moment. Bulldogs right in contention. I think, Psych, we did a little show in the offseason, and we previewed the Bulldogs were one of the big movers in terms of roster changes that we saw. And I believe, watching them out on the field, there's going to be some growing pains. Kay having our first full season in at quarterback, but we know, Michael Ramsey has been playing tremendous football. He's been a go-to receiver for them so far through the season. I think they're right on track, almost where we kind of predicted they would be. Right in line with the Patriots, getting their win over the Bulldogs. The Warriors game, not so lucky, 63-7 there. But other than that, I think they're right in line and kind of that middle of the road, right where we thought that they were going to be.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Sometimes you watch them play, and Kay will make a run or a cut that is just absolutely superb. I think I noticed the last time, because I streamed this last one with the Bulldogs, that just from somebody that's played with her in the past, her vision and her reading of the field has gotten a lot better as far as reading blocks and knowing when to take off with the football versus maybe when to give her receivers a little bit more time. I think she's got definitely her number one receiver. If we're talking in terms of fantasy with Ramsey, she needs a couple of the others. I know she's got Jinx and a few of the others that are trying to step up their game at receiving core, and I think if they can continue to progress and give her a little bit more of a threatening options, then they're going to be good. What I'm afraid will happen with that team until that happens with the rest of the receiving core is the more talented teams are going to zero in and know that if they can take away Ramsey, then you've delivered a severe blow to the offense. And so if they're I don't want to tip a little bit of my hand as far as our strategy, but I think that's what some of your more coach teams, as far as the ones that enter with something more than all right, let's go win, are going to shoot for. So, but yeah, it's been exciting to watch them progress this season for sure, or this off season.
Your thoughts on the Bulldogs?
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely picked up some some talent. They picked up some championship players that came from a couple championship teams. And you guys are right. Anytime that you have an offense that has a laser beam basically, directed straight at like one receiver, you're going to have other teams hone in on that. You're going to have the other teams really focus on that receiver. And sometimes, I witnessed this in the beginning of my UFL career. Sometimes that actually opens up a lot of room for other receivers to start shining. Because when a defense sometimes focuses on one player, you might sometimes wind up in double coverage, which leaves somebody else open. And I do know a couple teams that actually play on that. They know that their best man's going to be covered at times, so they look at their other receivers, and you've got a little bit of a better chance. A receiver with lesser, that's not particularly at the top of the food chain yet, you give them an open field pass and they've got a really good chance of getting that one. It's when you come down to the one-on-one balls that's where kind of that line in the sand is drawn between, I guess, the growing pains of being a receiver. Once you jump over that and you start coming down with the one-on-one balls, that's when you start getting in the higher tier of that. So a lot of the times when you have just one or two receivers that you're zeroing in on as a quarterback, and if the defense is really covering those guys, you actually have some opportunities with your other receivers. But like you guys said, until we see that receiving core start stepping it up and improving, so that way they do not have their specific targets, that's when we're going to see them take that next evolutionary step for the Bulldogs. But they've got a great core. They've got a great team. It has been nice to see, them step up, to the plate that they've stepped up onto. So look forward to seeing them throughout the season.
We're going to roll through these a little bit quick because, like we said, we are a little bit more time constrained than we were last season. So we're going to roll right on into the Huskies. They face the Broncos, Cowboys, and the Warriors. 0-3 record there. Huskies, as we know, were the Packers from last season. So you saw this team perform kind of the same old that we saw out of the Packers for so many seasons with the roster that they do have. A couple of new players there as well. But, it's kind of, same song and dance with this team that it has been for so long. Syke, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you said that as succinctly as you could.
Eloquently.
Right. This team's got some catch up to do. That's the diplomatic way to say that. They do have a good bit, I believe, if they want to pull out of contention from the basement level of the league. They are going to have to step that game up quick because the record's starting to count, starting this weekend. So just based on, preseason work, I know that, maybe they enter in working on specific things and the wins and losses don't really matter in the preseason. I get that. That's fine. And really, I'm just commenting on the perception, of where they're at right now. But they've got to show a lot more than they did in the preseason if they have any hope of doing that. I'd say that I could give them a compliment in that they really look like an SEC football team out there. The problem is that it was Auburn. I'm done.
Oh,
I'm done. Drop that mic. All right.
Tom, what you got?
Wow. I thought you were about to take a hit at State or something, and I would be like, you know what? You're kind of true right now. Yeah, pretty much to echo kind of what you guys say, and I'll keep this short. They've got some growing room to do. They've got some growing that needs to happen, some improvements. Now is the time to do it. So hopefully they've been practicing really hard, getting the basics down. And that's something we'll see here in the first week. What they've done, what they've taken from preseason to bring into the actual season. So.
All right, rolling on into the next one, we have the Raiders. They face Bucks, Seahawks, Bucks. So, really fought for me to give them the 1-2 record because the first one was technically a forfeit for the Bucks. So it would go down as a victory if it was,
If it was season.
Look, I'm just saying we had 12 people there ready to play. It counts.
Hey, that's right. They had the team that got the win. So Raiders 1-2. Drawing arguably the toughest draw. This is my thing that I found kind of entertaining about this. Bucks don't show up, you get the forfeit win, so then you have to go and face the Seahawks, and we all know how that went not well. But then they still make you have to play the Bucks
again.
Yeah, seriously. Let me stop and make an announcement. F you to whoever threw that out there. All right. No, I mean seriously. F you. Meet me after the stadium. We'll talk about it. All right.
But I will say this though.
Under the
me and
bleachers.
Tom will comment about this because of course Syke is on that team, and we'll roll through this really quick. We saw the Seahawks game. It's just one of those games. Seahawks were on it. There wasn't really much anything the Raiders could do. I mean, that's why the Seahawks are seen as the number one team. They won it all last season, and it's kind of like Ohio State. Until you lose, until you have a really, really, really bad performance, you're gonna keep that target on your back, and that's I think where the Seahawks are right now. But then the Bucks, I mean, y'all turn right around and play the Bucks, and it's a 35-23 win, tight game all the way through. A really, really good performance there, and a good bounce back statement because the Bucks are seen as, we talk about, a 2-3 team league. The Bucks are a team that's thrown up there into that 2-3, and you guys right there went toe to toe with them, 35-23. Raiders, I know you guys have been busting your butt, adding people, getting rid of people who aren't working out, doing what you have to do, and this team definitely trending in the right direction for sure. I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to be able to do, this upcoming week and into the rest of the season. One of the teams that we may talk about kind of in our sleeper that you need to pay attention to, but I think everybody's eyes are going to be on the Raiders anyway, just from the perception of that organization for as long as you guys have been around, even though it's up under a new name. So hats off to the Raiders there. Overall outlook for y'all, I think, is very, very good, just based simply off of the prior performance, the 35-23 game against the Bucks. Tom, what you got?
Absolutely. I completely agree with everything you said. The Raiders they've built a team for season 2. They built a team to contend. They've taken the previous season 1, have shaved off some people, have brought in some more talent. A couple players from last season's Dolphins are there. They definitely got the talent to be a top contender. Really look forward to seeing that. And I really only see the Raiders going forward, like going higher into the rankings and getting better and getting better. We saw them through the preseason and through scrimmages and always getting better, always continuously building that up. So I think we're gonna see good things out of the Raiders. And I will disagree. I don't think they're much of a sleeper team because, I mean, you look at the talent and it's everybody knows everybody on that team. Like it's there's not a name on the roster that you would say, oh, I have no clue who that person is. And in my eyes, a sleeper team is like, who the hell is that? Like, so.
But hats off there to another. And we're seeing the trend of new quarterbacks in this league this season. Jazzy taking over as the quarterback for the Raiders. Definitely saw a maturation from that first game to that second game there as well. But Syke, Raiders, they are your team. Any comment you want to make in regards to your organization moving forward?
Yeah, it's one of those things we kind of have, like y'all had both alluded to last season's team, as far as the Panthers, and I enjoyed my time as a Panther. It was a great time. I grew a whole lot, so I'm not disrespecting that season at all. But if you look at our roster right now, I mean, there are 4 people from the last year's team that are still active on it. 2 of them right now are currently not active in SL, so really there's just me and Cheese as far as the only carryover, unless I'm just grossly forgetting somebody from last year's team. Malik and Jackson right now, they've stepped away for a little bit. We're not even sure how long. in some cases. So we get, a little bit of a credit from what we did or didn't accomplish last season, but really, it's an entirely new roster. Like you mentioned, we went out and made our best sales pitch to Jazzy to get her to come over and QB for us. That's been an adventure, learning her system and learning how she wants to do as far as a receiver, as far as for our line. She came in and pretty much we gave her the reins to the offense, said, here, take it, you tell us how you want us to win. And she's done a remarkable job with that. So it's been a lot of fun, so far learning. I've learned a whole lot, as crazy as much as last season went, but this season I feel like I've already learned a whole lot more. And looking forward to keeping on going. So, but yeah, we feel like, we have a goals as a team that, really it's not my place to share here, but we know what is and isn't considered a success when this season is over. So we'll look at it then and figure out how we did.
Definitely, all signs pointing in the right direction for you guys, though. So then we'll drop on down next to the King Cobras, changing their name. Were Cobras last season, just adding King to the beginning of it this year. We kind of the team that the UFL as a whole, I think, really rallied behind. Finally getting their win against the Warriors in the last game of the season. They faced the Cowboys, the Broncos, and the Patriots. They go 0-3 through the preseason. A 38-14 loss to the Cowboys. A 48-14 loss to the Broncos, and then a 35-21 game with the Patriots to kind of end it all out. So definitely, we're a lot closer to where they needed to be. Okay. We're definitely a lot. Sorry, I'm getting Sykes messaging me right in the middle of while I was talking. But I'll correct that issue in just a second. A lot of high hopes. Flo comes back after kind of a tour around the league in the preseason. They kind of get themselves back to where they need to be. A better performance against the Patriots and off the preseason, like we said, 35-21 there. What are your guys' outlook for the Cobras this year?
Well, last season, last game, I don't know of a single person in that stand, in that game, watching that game, that was not cheering for the Cobras. It was really nice to see them step up. And nobody expected Flo to step out and perform like that. That was a huge shock. That was a huge, just an incredible, uplifting thing for that team, and I think that team needed that. And to see them come into preseason and Flo not quarterbacking, it raised some concern, because he did so well on that last game, and to bring, to come in and to see him back at receiver, it's like it's
disconnected from your channel.
It just kind of felt like that. Like they were kind of wasting it away. That I feel like in order to succeed, the King Cobras need Flo at quarterback. I've got high hopes for him this season. I'm really looking forward to watching them grow.
User
and
joined your channel.
hoping to see them actually push forward and improve on last season. So,
what you got, Syke?
Yeah, it'll be curious when they actually step the field with us. We've had a little bit of trouble actually getting them to book us for a scrim, so I don't really know a whole lot other than what we've seen in the preseason. But yeah, they're a team that we've got our eye on. So we feel like we've got a pretty good plan in place. But yeah, they do make they make pretty good, and Flo has made some steps as QB, and I'm kind of like y'all are. It was a little bit of shock to not see him QB, but yeah, and you don't know if that was just for preseason to give a backup a warm up or what, but we think that we'll be ready, as far as that goes, whoever they send out. But yeah, they've got a potential. They've increased. Really, I tell you, as far as their receiving core, one thing that stood out to me is how far along Serena Sands has come since the Lingerie Bowl as a receiver. That girl is out there making some nasty cuts and coming down with the ball. So hats off to her, for stepping out there.
We knew we would see some new players from it.
Yeah, it happens every season,
yeah,
and forgive me if I'm missing somebody other than her, but I think right now she's one of the main ones. Maybe Kara Enchanted, Kara Morales.
Isn't that where you got your start, Syke?
No, it isn't. But but no, I'm not sure where you're going with that one, Tom. Right.
letting it go.
So, but yeah, no, it's good to see that that she's out there, and I haven't seen her on the field yet, but I know I talked to Kara the other day, and she was excited about swapping from cheerleading to playing over at the Huskies. So I think that will be two that I think that I remember, at least as far as from the from the Lingerie Bowl, that are playing.
And I wonder, and it's like if my mic is still messing up, just let
No,
me
it
know.
sounds better, much better.
Okay. All right.
I've heard you just fine the whole time.
Okay. Um, yeah, I wonder though, with that game at the end of last season, I mean, Flo threw like 2 incomplete passes when they beat the Warriors. I mean, just completely went off. I wonder if there was some maybe unreasonable expectations for what the Cobras and even with Flo there would be able to do because we all jumped on it so big. It's kind of like, and it's like this is going back, of course, alluding to college football, like Grayson Lambert. Not saying that Flo is Grayson Lambert, but he plays the University of South Carolina, throws one incomplete pass. Everybody thinks, oh, Georgia's here is going to be this great big thing. You turn around and then things kind of settle down. That was like Flo's first or maybe his third start at quarterback, and I wonder if just maybe we have expectations for this team because of that performance. If maybe us our expectations were a little bit too much for where they were going to be able to be right at the beginning of the season. Because I think we expected to really see them make significant strides forward, and I think we have in certain areas. But as far as the scoreboard goes and getting some wins, even if it was just through the first 3 games in the preseason, but we did see strides in their final game against the Patriots. But I don't know if maybe we just had expected a little bit more because of how big that win was at the end of last season. Thoughts on that? No?
Yeah,
No,
I thought you were wrapping it, but yeah, I'll share real quick. I think you're right. I think too, if you look at last season, and if you're not seeing similar results, you have to think about it. About the season the Cobras had last season up until that point when Flo and company moved over there. And really, what I read it as is it was like a breath of fresh air. After what had gotten to be a really stale season. And then they kind of all of a sudden found new purpose, even though their season was over. It was like, but look at how much better we are. And then whenever they rolled up on the Warriors, I mean, let's just be honest, their season was over. The Warriors were playing for pretty much nothing at that point.
Yeah.
And so it was easier, to jump up. If you're a team with energy, it's easier to jump up there and bite a team like that. I think that's a lot of what you've seen, and then it has translated over to the raised expectations. Whether or not they can hold it, through a lengthy preseason, as far as tryouts and then the actual preseason, remains to be seen. But they are a team that if they can find that chemistry again, are capable of reeling off some wins.
Jumping on into the next one, that is the Titans. They faced the Seahawks, the Bucks, and the Cowboys. They went 2-1. So surprise of upset, whatever, I guess, or one of 2 upsets in my opinion in the preseason. Titans going in, beating the Seahawks, and having the game in control, pretty well. Losing to the Bucks, and then they did what they did to us in the final preseason game. So there, but Titans looking as strong as ever. Troy at quarterback, a lot of things going in the right direction. I think bringing Troy, getting tamed, a few little additions that they seem to continually make every offseason. They're bringing somebody new. I think have finally got the Titans to the point where we can start talking about legit win it all, not just get there, but could win the entire thing. What you guys like?
Yeah, I think that this is an interesting marriage between the group that came in as far as new Titans and the ones that remained from the previous seasons as far as the old Titans. Again, and this is my take. I don't mean anything with disrespect to any people, but I don't think that Troy has ever had blocking for him like he's getting right now. And I don't know that the Titans have ever had the level of dual threat quarterback that they have in Troy. So it's kind of one of those really interesting marriages as far as groups of people. And then atop from, the group that came in with Troy, you've got Ray Robert over there, who's, one of the better corners in the league and receivers, and plus you've seen multiple times that they're not afraid to hand him the ball and let him throw, because he's got all that experience as a starting quarterback as well. So they just have an abundance of experience over there at every spot. And it's one of those things that if they ever, if they continue to gel, I say if they ever, they've gelled, but I mean, if they continue to improve at the rate that they have and the rate that they have merged together, I really feel like this is a team that can go all the way and contend, when they get there. I think they proved that a little bit in the preseason. So it'd be interesting to watch.
It's I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to say for this. The talent, they've got the talent there. I do see the team going quite far, and they're a team not afraid to piss people off. They're not afraid to to make to have other people's opinions to be bad of them. They're just there to win it, and they're going to do what they have to win it, including icing the kicker. So it's going to be a long season. It'll be an interesting season. I look forward to seeing how those games goes and seeing how those strategies work for them.
But the Titans is they've always kind of had that bad boy vibe about them, and
Yep.
I mean, that's never going to change with them, and it works really well for them. But we're going to jump right on into the Mustangs. Facing the Warriors, Patriots, and Seahawks, going 1-2, and this is one of the teams that I've really kind of wanted to touch on because we had a show, and it might have been me and Greg, and we talked whenever the leagues they were announced. Mustangs were one of the teams that we were really talking about. We saw their roster, big moves that they made. They've lost some of those people since then. And I feel a lackluster performance throughout the preseason. I feel like this team, I have very, very high expectations of, and of course we're overreacting to everything because it's still the preseason. But 1-2 with a 70-0 loss to the Seahawks, a 52-21 loss to the Warriors, which I think is one of the biggest surprises of the preseason. I mean, the Warriors are a team that have just jumped out on the page, and we're going to talk about them later. They did beat the Patriots 49-16, but I'm just saying, I believe the expectations for this team were up there with the Titans, and the performances that we've seen on the field so far are not indicative of the expectations that I know I've had for the Mustangs to this point. Syke, what you got?
The Mustangs are another one of those teams that they've added so many new people over the season or over the preseason that they are fun to watch, and they're still learning each other to an extent. I don't think that their preseason was a disaster. I don't think it was an overwhelming success. I think that it was just a good gauge of a team that has come together with, I believe, about a 50-50 split of new people versus returning people, and you're going to continue to see them grow and work on things. But the experience is certainly there, and because I know how close a lot of them are, I'll even say that the chemistry is there, and so I expect them to continue to push forward and definitely contend for a playoff spot.
Oh yeah, they're definitely a playoff team whenever we look at how the divisions have lined themselves out. I mean, I look over here in the AFC, and just to give a little preview of it, I mean, I believe that you're talking, Titans #1, and then Raiders, Mustangs are like 2A, 2B right now. With actually, I mean, the Raiders maybe even getting a little bit more of a nod just with their performance against the Bucks. But yeah, so Tom, what you got?
The Mustangs have definitely picked up a really good crew of players. Marlowe's got quite a few targets. Blaze, getting back there at quarterback as well. He's got plenty of targets out there. And if you don't stop Blaze on the run, he's going to walk all over you and get those moves. So I do see the Mustangs coming from season 1 to season 2 going to be and looking like a completely different team out there. Really look forward to seeing what they got.
I would say, it could just be, I mean, as all the pieces come together and kind of fit themselves in, I'm really, when this team finally gets to the point that I think we all expect them to be at, it's going to be really, really exciting to watch. I'm eager for that to happen because, mean, we're all players and we have our teams, and people, can take our comments however they want. But at the end of the day, whenever I'm commentating or I'm watching a game that I'm not playing in, I want it to be a really, really good game. And I look for really, really good performances. And the Mustangs are a team that have the entire makeup to make a run at the whole deal. And, I'm really, really eager to see when it all finally clicks what they're going to be able to do. So that's going to wrap up the AFC. We're going to jump into the NFC, and we're going to go through these even faster than we did the AFC because time is dwindling on us. First one would be the Cowboys. So it's like we'll let you talk about us. Cobras, Huskies, Titans went 2-1 through those games. So, Syke, you can say whatever you want to say about us. We'll try not to get offended, and then we'll move on.
Time out. Time out. That's what I was. No, I'm just kidding. No, you guys, y'all are a team. Y'all have made a lot of moves. Kind of like what you were saying with us as far as the moving people in, moving people out, getting people, grouped in together, and sorted. You can see it. At first, you guys started, I think, with Magma as your QB. Now you've got Fontes over there. So that anytime you swap like that, if that was a permanent swap, then you've got to regrow and relearn. So we had scrimmed you guys once with Magma, and I mean y'all were just, it was brutal. And then whenever you came back with Fontes, it was a much different different styled attack, and so it was really completely two different teams. And so that was one of the impressions that I got as far as scrimming with y'all over the. And it's tough to say, it's tough to really read on scrims because so many times you're just doing stuff to work on something versus like this is our game plan, this is who we are. So, but I mean, you guys have definitely got a team that's going to push for the playoffs. I feel like you can probably, with ease be a team that's feared in your conference to just about everybody, maybe outside of the what everybody believes to be the toughest two teams.
I don't really have much to say other than, good group of people. Like you said, we've made a lot of moves in and out, trying to find that right mix. Recently have made a few more additions to the team as well. So, rough start to the season for us. I think we got Bucks week 1, then Warriors week 2. So it's going to be a tough stretch right there, right off the bat for us. But, really, really proud of our team. The players that we do have for the improvement that we have shown. So I'm excited about the season and looking forward to seeing what we're going to be able to do when it all finally does come together and we're able to finally get some stability, because it seems like every time we take two steps, we take one step forward, take 2 steps back with somebody leaving or having some kind of roster turnover issue in terms of that. But as soon as we can get all that figured out, it's definitely going to be a good time. So Tom, you got anything you want to say? And then we'll roll on into the Seahawks.
I think you covered it all. I think we can roll to the Hawks.
Seahawks, here we go. Facing the Titans, Raiders, and Mustangs. Went 2-1 to 1 loss to the Titans. Nothing. Surprising. I think we saw the Titans win the first weekend, and everyone was like, "Uh-oh, here we go." But then Seahawks turning right back around with big wins against the Raiders. I think shutout against the Raiders and the Mustangs. If I'm not mistaken, getting right back on track, performing the way that we're used to seeing them perform, just dominating teams. So, we saw that Titans game, we see the Raiders, we see the Mustangs, and I think the Seahawks are right back where they were last season, geared up, ready to go, and ready to make a run at a second championship. What you got, Syke?
Yeah, I was real happy to be able to play them after their first loss in like a year and a half. That just made me incredibly excited about that level of drive and determination. So I personally want to thank the Titans for instilling that fire and vigor in them. But no, on a serious note, they're the real deal. They were the real deal last season. We saw that when they almost overnight, went from the feel good underdog to the holy crap, these guys are going to be tough to stop. And I'll just throw this out there as a prediction. You're not going to stop the Seahawks. Your only shot at beating them this season is going to be to outscore them. I mean, you're going to have to go for 2 a few times, as a surprise to try and get the lead. You're just not going to stop that attack. Just not going to stop it. And so your only real hope is going to be to outscore it. That's
Good luck with that.
yeah. I was gonna say that's my mentality. Because they're gonna play just about flawless, and they're a team that's capable of overcoming the shortcomings of any particular position during any game. If the receiving core is having a bad night, Kevin's just gonna say, all right, screw y'all, I'll just run for a little while. Or if if he's getting blocked, and pressured at the line, then he's just gonna throw it up, and Skinner's gonna make everybody look ridiculous and come down with crap. So I mean, finding a weakness is complaining because you have to pay the taxes on $10 billion. I mean, it might be a lot, but you still got $10 million or $10 billion. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. They're by far and away going to be the favorites, to win it all immediately. And I think everybody on our side of the brackets are probably the Bucks' biggest fans as far as when somebody does make the Super Bowl. But yeah, it's going to be one of those things that you just look for them over the course of the season. Really, they're probably going to be as big enemies to themselves as anybody. Just keeping a team mentality over the course of a 3 or 4 month season.
Right, and they seem to play their best when the lights are the brightest. So, Tom, what you got as far as Seahawks go?
Well, they are the team with a target on their back, such as the Dolphins were in the beginning of season 1 of UFL. And the Bills, came up and put a surprise on everybody's face and basically took it, for season 1. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be that team that comes back that gets the fire under them to say, all right, this is the team to beat. How do we beat them? And just like Sykes said, it's going to come down to you're just gonna have to play smart. If you get a lead, you're gonna have to hold the ball as long as you can. Because the longer you can keep it away out of Crevin's hands, the better shot you've got. So I mean, I think we're gonna see some time management against the Seahawks a good bit. If someone is able to actually reach out and actually get the lead. It's gonna be a tough season for anybody trying to topple the Seahawks. I believe they've got everything locked down. Great team. If you couldn't get, they were great. They were fantastic as the Bills. Now that the Seahawks, and they've got a little bit of extra talent on there, so it's not much that can be said about the Seahawks other than they've earned it.
Yep, great team and in prime position to make a run at it again. All right, hop right into the Broncos now. Huskies, Cobras, and Bulldogs with their opponents. They went 2-1. Their one loss coming to the Bulldogs in that exciting game, the final game of the preseason. Broncos, word of the Falcons. They got Cash. They got a couple other players over there. Seeing a change in mentality and how they run their offense. We see them huddle. No teams really do that. Definitely one of the teams that are interesting to watch, fun to watch. And I believe from where they were as an organization as the Falcons to where they are right now as the Blazing Broncos, we've seen leaps and bounds in the positive direction with Cash over there, along with Ball Dev. Those two in the backfield are a very dangerous 1-2 punch. You hand to the Ball Dev, he's a very capable runner, he's a very capable passer as well, and we all know what Cash is able to do as well as a talented group because they're always going to have enough players to get out on the field. So Broncos trending upward, I feel, as they head into this season. It's like what you got.
Yeah, the Broncos actually won an award from me. It's the first time I've ever seen it that they were actually asked to send some players home. That they had actually exceeded the number of allowed players on the sim at any given time. So who even knew? But they're weeding through it. I think they just put J-Rock up for trade, which is not a surprise if you've watched any of their games. The one in particular. Yeah, that clown. Good luck wherever he goes next.
On the bench.
But yeah, right. So he has to pay taxes on that junk. That's where he lives. So. So yeah, they're in the right direction. They've got a couple of players right there that would make noise on any roster that they were on, and they are certainly learning quickly. They put an emphasis again on new players, and and it's paying off. They've got a lot of new faces mixed in with Yoshi and Zev and some of their returners as well. So it's been an interesting marriage to watch, and I think that's a team that where they are right now. I think that they have one of the highest ceilings as far as where they start to where they can finish as a team in the league. So it'd be fun to watch.
Tom?
I mean, I think everybody knows, especially you guys up here, that I've got a very soft spot for for that team. I started in the in the CFL with them. Ball Dev and Thumper, they're good friends of mine. Even though the back and forth has happened, we've all stayed good friends, and I like seeing them do well. So when they picked up Cash and picked up a couple extra people, some solid people, that really made me smile. Like I'm thinking that the Broncos are actually going to be able to get out there and actually be a team that's a contender. And I think the ticket for the Broncos' success is Cash at quarterback and Baldev in the backfield behind him or beside him, and just handing the ball off every once in a while to Baldev, because, like Matt said, Baldev has the ability to move that ball. Or Syke, you might have said that, but Baldev's got the ability. He can run the ball. It just, you might see some trick plays out there where it's a handoff. I think we saw one during a scrim where it was a trick play, handoff to Baldev. You think he's going to run, but he stays in the backfield and passes. As long as Baldev doesn't drop back, on his traditional, 30-something yards, I think they'll, I feel like they're going to do really well this season, with Cash at the hands of at the quarterback spot. He's taken that team, him and Baldev, and they've really turned that organization around, and I think we're going to see a lot out of the Broncos this season.
With that, and one good thing, a little side note to make: Broncos, which were the Falcons, Bulldogs, the two teams that struggled the most with forfeits last season, probably the two teams with the largest rosters in the league. So if you want to tell me that these two teams didn't get the memo in the offseason that we don't want forfeits, they took it to heart, and these guys roll in with a squad ready to go. But that's all I'm going to say on that one. Moving on to the Patriots, they faced the Bulldogs, the Mustangs, and the Cobras. They went 2-1 through that, and their loss was to the Mustangs. So Patriots, I think, doing what the Patriots always do. I think they're pretty much the same team as they were last season. Added a few new faces, got rid of a few people. But the bread and butter on that team is going to be whoever decides to be quarterback, throwing the ball up to Tupac and him winning one on whole other defense over and over again.
Everybody.
So I think the Patriots are in the same boat that they've always been in, and gonna be a thorn in the side of any team that they play, because you can cover Tupac, but very rarely are you going to win a battle with them. What you got, Tom?
Yeah, it's key of just getting the ball to Tupac. Getting the blocks that's needed to get the time for him to throw it to Tupac and play around that, because, like you said, he'll catch over an entire team. So look forward to seeing them continually grow in this season, and show what they've got, show what they've done in preseason and off season.
What you got, Syke?
Yeah, they, it's one of those that you know what to expect coming in, and that doesn't make it any easier on a defense. You can either defend Tupac or you can't, and that will define a whole lot of your success. They're one of those teams that, if you could have a couple other people really stand up and develop as legitimate deep threats, that you're going to really spread thin some secondaries trying to cover them and stop them. It'll be interesting to see how they recover from the from Pitt Dog not playing this season. He's been a regular there for a while, and don't believe that he's playing unless he signed up and I just missed it. But I know I hadn't seen him around, so that'd be one of those things to keep an eye on. But yeah, this is Raz's crew. It's probably one of the more senior teams in the league as far as like a core group. Right up there with the Titans. So they know what to expect. They know what playing a full season's all about. So I expect to see them make it pretty good through the season.
All right, we're going to jump right on into the Warriors, facing off against Mustangs, Bulldogs, and Huskies, coming away 3-0 with pretty dominating wins all the way across the board. This team, from the team that lost to the Cobras to the team that beat the Mustangs, I believe is one of the largest growers that we did not talk about when we just looked at their roster at the beginning of the season. Gooch playing absolutely out of his mind. Zany doing what he does as well. Darian over there now making a difference across the middle as a reliable set of hands attacking on the offensive side of the ball for the Warriors. I believe this is a team that if you're buying stock in the Warriors right now, trending upwards rather quickly. What you think, Syke?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've added some pieces for sure, and it'll be interesting to see exactly how they continue to grow and mesh together. They're just honestly one of those teams that we feel like we have a little bit of a rivalry with. I don't really feel like they're one of my favorite teams. Just throwing that out there, but yeah, we enjoy playing them. It's always fun, and certainly wish them a good season, and think that they will be somebody to keep an eye on because of the additions that you mentioned. But yeah, they're just they're one of those that when they're clicking, they are clicking. You really kind of have to make them think twice about what they're doing, or it's going to be a very long day for you.
All right, and Thomas stepped away, so we're gonna
Nope,
be
I'm
able
back
to.
now.
Oh God dang! All right, Warriors, you got anything? If not,
If
we're
you'd
going
have
to the
told me, I'd
Bucks.
have went quicker, Matt. My bad.
Oh. No, definitely a team that has seen a complete reversal. Just as you said, they got beat by the Cobras in last season on the last game, and coming to this season and just showing up and showing out. So, as I've said with a couple other teams, like it's gonna be a good season to watch, and the Warriors are definitely going to be a team to watch.
All right, and then finally wrapping it all up with the Bucks, they face the Raiders, Titans, Raiders. So we'll say that they're 2-1, wins over the Raiders and the Titans, and a forfeit loss to the Raiders. So, in any case, they come back. Titans face them after the big win that the Titans had against the Seahawks. Bucks are able to beat them there, and then Bucks turn around and are able to stave off the Raiders. This team, I think the forfeit kind of caused a lot of us to kind of have pause for just for a moment, but we would know what this team's capable of, especially those of us from last season, some of us having played there or just seeing this team as it was with the Dolphins with the additions that they have made now. This team's going to be a top team, regardless of how things pan out. They're going to be right there at the end of the season, as expected to be with Cam Core at the helm, as well as the host of talent that they have on that team. With Fru, Jeff, and everyone else over there. It's going to be exciting to watch as they take on the Seahawks twice in the season, having to face conference rivals two times in this year. So that's definitely going to be two marquee matchups that we're going to be paying attention to throughout this season. Like what you got in terms of the Bucks
Yeah,
played against them.
the first two will be really interesting. I think the third one will be the best. I'll just go ahead and say that, and y'all
Yeah.
can interpret it however you want to. But yeah, they're a team to watch. What I'm most interested in seeing, is how Kobe can shape this team to fight the Seahawks. The guy's a legendary coach as far as virtual and SL football goes. And when you give him as many toys as the Bucks have over the course of a season, I think that they potentially could become a nightmare as far as the Seahawks' hopes of repeating goes. And it'll be fun to watch. I really, I'm interested in seeing it. We scrim the daylights out of them, so we keep an eye out, and it's always an adventure for sure to see what they're up to. And I think the sky is the limit. I think that they are a team that is very, very unshy about telling you that it's Super Bowl or bust for them as far as their expectations. And I mean, considering what they have, I feel like those are fair expectations. So it's just one of those things. How can they navigate the season? How can they deal with the with the Seahawks, and just seeing exactly how they approach it.
All right, Tom, what you got?
Well, I mean, they've got one target and one target only, and that target is the Seahawks. So I see them doing whatever they can. Every game that they play is going to be played to the standard as if it was the Seahawks, to see what they can do to improve, see what they can do to beat, because there's a lot on that team that lost to the Seahawks, who were the Bucks, not the Bucks. I'm sorry, the Seahawks that were the Bills in the Super Bowl. So there's that rivalry already there before the season has even started. So that target is already there, and it's going to be there all season long until they start facing them and see that, and see what the planning and what the strategies that they've done, to see how they are and how they fare against them. So.
And that's going to wrap up pretty much our preview for the entire league. Now, we got the week one schedule. We're going to run through these really, really fast. We're going to give our predictions. We're not going to talk about them because we don't have time to get into it. We're going to go through these as fast as we can. So, week one, we're going to kick it off Friday with the Broncos at the Seahawks. Syke, who you got?
Hawks.
Tom?
Hawks.
And I will say the same. So Hawks all the way across the board. I will keep track of these as we go through as well. All right, Saturday early game. We got Titans and Cobras. Psych, who you got?
Titans.
Titans.
And I'm going to say the same. So right now we're all equal. All right, we have the late game is going to be the Warriors and the Patriots. Who you got, Psych?
Warriors.
Warriors.
And I'm going the same. This is not fun. All right,
Right?
late game, early game on Sunday. Mustangs at Huskies. Who we have here, Psych?
I'm gonna go with those horses.
All right, and who you got, Tom?
Thangs.
And I got the same. This is again no fun. All right,
we need a new host.
Late game on Sunday is going to be Bulldogs and Raiders. Psych, you're not going to pick this game because we're not going to pick our own game, so we're going to be even as far as our records go.
I don't have a problem picking it. I mean, if you want me to.
I know you don't. Tom, who you got? Bulldogs, Raiders.
I got Raiders on this one.
Well, we're going to be equal on that as well. And then Buccaneers and Cowboys on Monday night. Psych, you're going to be the only one picking this. I'm going to go ahead and put down what I know you're going to pick, and that's going to be the Cowboys.
Yeah, you are incorrect, sir. No, I'm going. If this was Lee Corso, I'd be grabbing a big old pirate head right now and throwing it on. But yeah, no, I think the Bucs have got y'all right now. Maybe later in the season it remains to be seen, but right now they're ahead.
All right, we roll through those pretty quick. Happy about that. We will, of course, we will review that. We will preview week 2. We're going to jump into our usual way of things heading into next week. But all right, you look through the entire league. Psych, give me one team, one sleeper or surprise team, not Bucks, not Seahawks, but a team maybe down toward the bottom, in the middle that you see making a big splash this season.
Broncos.
Who you got?
Friggin' Broncos.
And I'm going to say the Warriors.
There we go.
They're my sleeper team. All right, and you're way too early, the United Bowl matchup. Psych, who do you think is going to be in it when it's all said and done? What's the championship game going to look like?
Bucks Titans.
What you got, Tom?
Bucks and Seahawks.
Can't happen
They're in the same
Oh, that's
thing.
right. That's right. There's switched.
Wah,
Yeah.
wah.
My bad. I'm gonna have to go with where Psych is then.
I'm going to say the Seahawks and the Titans, so that'll make me a little bit different than you guys.
Actually, no. What was your Psych?
Mine was Bucks Titans. Don't be a follower, Tom.
Hold on. Where does the Raiders fall? The Raiders are in.
Raiders are on the Titans side.
I'm gonna go with Oh, geez, man, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm gonna throw it out there. Bucks Raiders.
Oh, giving you props, Psych. He's kissing your butthole right on the hole right
Whoa.
there, buddy.
Whoa.
But anyways,
And that's a wrap.
that is going to wrap up the show. We did really good. We have 1 minute to spare running through all that. So next week, we will be here in this location every Thursday at 5 p.m. SLT. Come out and see us. We're working on sponsorships. We're trying to get with Combatant to do Player of the Week again. We got a lot of exciting things coming in the upcoming weeks. We will get into our review and our previews next week. We will also do Player of the Games, Player of the Weeks. All that will be announced on the Pulse Thursday nights at 5 from this location. Y'all have anything else?
I do. I actually have one major announcement.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was just like, yeah, and I almost walked out without doing it. If you are interested in being one of the regular pickers on the power ranking show, it's gonna be Tuesdays at 5. We are looking for 1, possibly 2 regulars. So if you are interested, get in touch with me in World. That's like Troglodyte, or on Facebook. It's Christopher Leon. You can see me all the time posting and goofing in the UFL group, or ask somebody. I'm sure they're friends with me. Or at least, hate me enough to have me on their list. So we are looking for 1 to 2, co-hosts for this season, and we're still waiting to hear back a little bit. That's why it's 1 or 2. But you need to be prepared to have an opinion. You need to be able to defend it well, and you need to be able to not necessarily be a homer all the time, but every now and then let those colors shine through. Watch a few from last season if you have no clue what it's all about, and I think you'll get the hang of it pretty quick. But I'll throw that out there. We are looking for a couple hosts. So. Boom, that's what I got.
Sounds like a plan. Also, if you want to be a ref, contact Razin McAndrews. That's Raz09 resident here at NSO. We always need refs. If you want to be a commentator or a streamer, contact me, Tom, Psych, anybody in the media department to be that. If you want to be a photographer, contact Duchess button in regards to that as well. If you want to be a guest here on the Pulse and talk crap with us for an hour, feel free, contact any of the three of us that you see sitting up here, and we'll be more than happy to let you sit in one of the 2 free chairs that we have on the edges. If that is all we got, contact Psych if you want to be in the Power Rankings show. Going to kick that off next week. Looking forward to it. Good luck to everybody this upcoming weekend. UFL regular season 2 starts tomorrow night. So get ready, ladies and gentlemen. It is here, and the push for the playoffs start tomorrow night. Y'all have a good night.